Every time.
Yep.
Wait, I don't have any knitting.
You don't have any knitting?
Because I can't do any lace knitting.
No, that's hard.
I can't.
Sorry, pal.
Oh my God. Okay.
Somebody said that to me a while back.
Sorry, pal. Let's together. Ready? Wait.
I think we're ready.
Wait, we gotta start with a.
Oh, are we doing that? Okay.
Aloha!
Welcome to Meanwhile at the Castle podcast. This is episode 35. Today is July 10th, and we are, what am I supposed to say? I'm Queen Emily.
Good job. I'm Queen Deborah.
I just said I plan on doing a bad job whenever I introduce us.
That's okay.
Let's see. What
that
are
way
good
you
things?
could never disappoint.
Right, exactly. You just know it's going to happen. So let's see. Oh yeah, we are queens of our castles, keeping the domestic arts alive. And you can find all our show notes right below this video, or if you'd like clickable links, just head over to meanwhileatthecastle.com.
Aren't we doing something with that?
Never mind. I didn't know if we decided to when. So yes.
We are actually dissolving the website, and links and information for our sock knitting tutorials will be in Ravelry instead.
Mm-hmm.
And all of our show notes will be below.
Okay, great. So that's this time. So now, less work for us.
Yeah.
More fun for you, maybe.
Well, that way you don't have to go to another place
Yeah.
to get show notes. And the information's below anyways. We usually do that.
Right. So
not a
it's
big
all
deal.
good. All right. Let's see. It's July. How is July going for you?
Hot. July is fabulous, though. It is fabulous. If you notice, we're all decked out in tropical vibes here because we live in a desert.
In a landlocked state. So, but we're trying to channel, some island feel here.
Yes. We are having a fun celebration because today we are going to give you a little bit of a life update.
Yeah.
We're going to show you some finished objects. We're going to have a favorite things segment, a work in progress, show our work in progress. We have some shop news, and at the end we have some fabulous announcement for our 3,000 subscriber giveaway.
We are like this close.
So we're just
we're
celebrating. Celebrate good times. Come on. Okay.
Good job. Thank you. That was a beautiful solo. You look gorgeous today, by the way.
Thank you. You do too. I think we should
you.
dress like this all the time, especially if we have these flowers right behind us.
Yes. They're larger than my head.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. We should have these. Just somebody following behind with these on poles.
Like a parade.
Everywhere we go.
That would be normal.
For us.
It would work.
We could make it work. We could make it work. So.
Oh, it has been forever since we podcast. I feel like a little weird just because it's been a long time. Life is so crazy in the summer. I know you guys are doing a ton of stuff. We're heavily involved in heroic youth right now, and we've talked about that a little bit before on previous podcasts, but
your biggest news.
But, and our son came home. Yay! So he has been serving a mission for our church in Ukraine and left 2 years ago, actually on July 13th. And he got home last week. Oh, it's really awesome. It's so great.
I haven't been living at your house, but he seems exactly the same.
He's exactly the same, but older. I mean, he's still the same guy. He's older. He's definitely more mature and more confident.
That's good.
He was already a pretty confident guy, but he's, you know, even more confident and like kind of just got to have more of a go get him kind of attitude. But we had some joyful reunion times, and it's just been really wonderful to have him home. So
at the beginning of this video were some pictures of him returning home from the airport.
Yeah.
Where we met him at the airport. And so it was really a fun celebration. It was like celebrities walking through.
I know, it was so fun.
Because there was a group of missionaries that came all on the same flight, and before we could even see them, we heard all sorts of cheering going on. And so we knew they were coming, and it was just so
because
fun.
of all the families that were there waiting to meet them. It was really awesome.
It was a great reunion.
But it's been really busy because we've had, you know, him coming home, and we did kind of a big party, which I didn't take a single picture at, by the way, not one.
Oh, I didn't either. I usually take on that role when you're doing something, and I didn't.
But it was just, you know, it was great. It was just very relaxed, and we visited with friends and family, and had some food and just chatted, and, you know, that was really awesome. So, and then another big thing that's happened in my life is that as part of our church, we have like different assignments that we can fulfill. They're volunteer assignments. And I just recently took on a very, very, very large one, which basically means I am in charge of the well-being of all of the women in our congregation. And that's a really big job. So between that and Ethan coming home and Heroic Youth, and I got an offender bender, I feel like I just have like dropped off the face of the planet in a lot of ways. Like I'm just, as far as like Instagram or, you know, like any online stuff, I've kind of been
because
gone.
Instagram is there to be a support, and a place where you can share things when you're
but it shouldn't be a burden, right?
No. So,
but I just, you know, feel like I'm a little out of touch with all my online friends, and I'm still here. I'm alive. Things are good. They're just really busy. So, how about for you?
Good, especially because Emily brought me this drink. What is it? I love it.
Let's see. That one is Peach Perfection.
I love it.
Mine is called Caribbean Passion.
Yummy. Love it.
Sorry.
I think I told that story on here, didn't I?
You should just tell it again. It's such a good story.
Okay.
I actually have lipstick on, but you can't tell. Weird. Sorry.
We're in a weird mood.
I
will get to
You're
knitting.
Like mostly normal.
I know, what's
for you? But for me, I'm just When
I see people often in person, the first time I'm just really quiet and reserved, and people are like, she's just not at all the same. But then, like, as Christy and Tristan can tell you from Girls in the Yarn Cafe, once I get to know them, they'd prefer a little more distance.
No, they would never say that.
Anyways, okay, the story. So when my oldest daughter, who is almost 18, Claire, when she was very young, she was like 2 years old. She could speak very well when she was really young. I think the first often does. Well, we were getting ready for church one day, and my husband calls me. I was downstairs, and he's like, Deborah, come here. He doesn't ever do that. And I'm like, what is going on? And my little daughter's standing at his feet, just looking up at him all innocently. And he's like, tell your mother what you just told me. And she looks at me all sweetly, and she says, Daddy, are you ready for a little bit of passion? He's like, where did she get that from? I'm like, I don't know. I'm like, Dora the Explorer didn't teach it to her. And she goes to bed a lot earlier than we do, so.
Who knows? Oh, gracious.
Okay, so Caribbean Passion.
Oh, yeah, and these are non-alcoholic
drinks.
This is all just natural.
We don't need anything else.
No, we don't.
Doesn't help us. Okay. So we started in my family this week tearing up our backyard, and so everything is chaos in our outside. living space because we are going to create this backyard oasis. We have got this grand plan I am so excited about. We've been dreaming about it since pretty much the day we moved in, and we're finally going to be doing it. And so we've had tractors, it's not a backhoe, skidster, I don't know. It's one of those
big machines.
Machinery here, tearing up cement and the grass and trees and all sorts of things in the back. So it will be really fun when we're done. It will feel hopefully a lot cooler in the backyard because right now my entire yard is full sun everywhere 100% of the time.
Well, that is how my yard is too,
So,
and I hate it.
We're going to create some shade and a great space, and we're redoing my middle daughter's room, Ella, her room. So the inside of our house is also a disaster because everything in her room is everywhere else in the house right now.
Oh.
So inside and outside is chaos, but it'll get better and it will be fun. So.
Oh, that's crazy.
And then
though.
I've also got some really fun big news at the end of our podcast.
I know, it's so exciting.
That many of you already know, but that's okay.
It's really exciting. So
All right.
for just reference sake, you know, we talk about it being really hot, and I know that it's interesting to me, maybe it isn't to anybody else, but it's interesting to me, like, what does that mean? You know, what does hot mean? Well, we live in a
different to
desert.
everybody else.
Yeah, it is different.
It's different for
We
everyone.
live in a desert, so we don't deal with humidity here. We deal with the opposite problem. But last week we got up to 106 degrees Fahrenheit.
It was 104 yesterday when we were
It's
outside in the
so-
backyard in the full sun pulling
Yeah.
up cement.
And we're at a high altitude, which means that there's not a lot of protection from the sun.
Yeah.
So you sunburn very, very quickly here.
My youngest got so sunburned that
Oh,
for the
no.
last 3 days she's had to stay home pretty much wearing nothing. So she just stays in her room wearing absolutely
Poor thing,
nothing.
yeah.
We put ice packs on her and
Oh no.
aloe vera. She is really sunburned because she was outside for 2
Yeah.
hours.
And then add the fact that our ancestry is from Sweden, where they don't have sun. I'm just joking, but we just burn so fast. The other day we had a training for heroic youth, so we were at a park, and it was just so hot. But we were under shade like the whole time. We were in one little like covered bowery or pavilion, and then I walked from the car to the pavilion. I stayed there for an hour. I walked to the other pavilion, so I was in the sun that amount of time, stayed there for an hour, walked back to the pavilion, and then walked to my car. I was sunburned. Not dramatically, but like right here at the top of my, you know, lovely, sizable cheeks. I had just sun right along here and right along my hairline, and I'm like, I stayed in the shade the whole day. How did this even happen?
Yeah.
So that's not fun.
So everybody has different tolerances for heat,
Yeah.
and when we get hot, we don't cool down, and we turn
Yeah.
purple.
Purple.
And people look at us and like,
Think you're in danger. You're gonna pass out any second.
When we were on our hike in southern Utah last month, or whenever that was, I actually was doing pretty good, but I was hot, and so I looked terrible, I'm sure. And there was a park ranger that was walking down the trail, and he had some equipment with him, and he was just watching everybody and making sure everything was okay. And he gets to me and he's like, "How are you?" And I knew what he was thinking. He was like, "Uh-oh, this lady is in danger." And I looked at him, I'm like, "I'm great, how are you doing? This is a lovely day." He's like, "Okay, you moved on." I'm like, I have to make sure he knows I'm not
Yeah.
about to pass out in 2 seconds.
Like, if I'm purple, but then I go white, then it's danger. But
Yeah.
anyway,
All right.
so one last thing, you'll hear a little noise in the background. We just decided we can't survive without air conditioning, so it's staying on.
We're not suffering for you people like that.
So we apologize for the background noise, but I'm sure you'd rather for us all to be alive. All right.
Okay, time for some finished objects. Do you have
I
some
had
finished objects?
one. How about you?
I've got a couple.
So you go first.
Okay. I've shown these multiple times before, but they are really fun. They're socks knit from the Knitterly Things Rainbow. This was from my Rainbow of the Month club that I did last year, and it was the June colorway, I believe, summertime. And it is just so fun and cheerful. Look at this.
So
Look, it matches
cute.
us. It matches everything.
Totally tropical.
Love it. I did a slip stitch pattern that there's a bajillion of these around. I just knit 2, slip 1, knit 2, slip 1 every time there was a color change, and I did it only on the top of the sock and the front. And for the heel, I tried a different pattern, and it is called the New Depths heel because I wanted a short row heel rather than a heel flap and gusset, but they don't fit very well. That's always the complaint. They don't fit very well. They're too shallow. And this one kind of combines the two, where you get a gusset, like let's see, I did these toe up. So we did a gusset increase,
but it's just
did
a
the
little
short
one,
row
right?
toe or heel. Yeah, just a little one. And then a decrease. And it fits fantastic. It's actually, I did the largest one because I wanted to make sure there was room. I could probably do the medium.
The medium heel.
Yeah. So this is 64 stitches on 2.25 millimeter. And I pulled out a tiny bit of yarn. I was so glad that I didn't have to pull out a lot so that the socks would match to get to the same repeat. But this was toe up. I never really do toe up. I've done a few pair.
Did you like it?
And I do like it, but I don't like doing short row heels. But toe up was really fun.
Yeah.
You know, it's not like it's really that hard, but I'm not a huge fan of knitting the short row heel. I probably just don't like knitting heels. I love knitting socks, but heels, not so much. That's all.
I don't really like knitting short row heels too much either, but I don't mind an afterthought heel. That's the one that I prefer if I'm gonna do like a contrast and a self-striping.
And those have essentially the same type of a fit, I think.
They do, but I think you could do the same kind of a thing where you add a few. I don't know. I'll have to figure it out.
Well, I showed another time, which we talked about on a previous episode, where it was all about socks, sock parade kind of thing, where I shared different heels. And one of them I knit was an afterthought heel, and it was called something like the high hat thumb joint afterthought heel, or something like that. And it was roomier, and it was. It's kind of like what I'm seeing everybody doing is like the whirlwind toe or the
umbrella toe, depending on which way you go.
Same thing on the heel.
Yeah.
And it fit really great.
That's cool. All right, well, I have a finished object, although it isn't blocked yet. And it is my Elizabeth shawl by D. O'Keefe. There it is. It actually was soaked. I put it in the soak yesterday, and I pulled it out, and I put it in my spin dryer, and then I pulled it out of there, and by the time I was even starting to pin it out, it was already dry because it was so hot.
Wow.
And it's lace weight, and the spin dryer takes out a lot of the water. And so by the time I got to where I would even start pinning out the points of the lace border, it was already dry. So I knew I was gonna have to wet it again and do it again, and I had run out of time by that point. So all of this pretty lace border will actually have really pretty points, but I did finish it, and I think it's just really pretty.
That's a very, very pretty shawl.
So I really love it. I knit this in Yarnbrary yarns, single ply lace weight, 100% superwash merino yarn.
This was for your friend, you said.
This is going to be for a friend in my neighborhood.
So soft.
It's a little smaller than what I thought it was going to be. I'm still going to give it to her, but it's less of kind of the purpose. I was hoping she could have something that could really wrap around her shoulders more, and it will, but it won't be, you know, it's a smaller one.
It'll be slightly larger when you block it.
It will, but not I mean, it has been soaked and laid out, so I've gotten a portion of that stretch has already taken place. It will be a little bit more, but not dramatically bigger than it is now. So anyway, but it's really pretty, and I really enjoyed it. I had only knit one other lace weight item before, which have all known I titled the Shawl of Death for a long time. But this was thoroughly enjoyable. I really liked it, and never felt like it was an endless shawl, or that you know, that it wasn't enjoyable to, the actual knitting of it wasn't enjoyable. So I'm, you know, as long as I stick with 100% wool or wool blends, I'm sure I will enjoy working with lace weight. I won't be probably going back to Tencel linen type lace weight yarns. That's just for me.
That's okay.
But anyway, so that's by D. O'Keefe. Oh, and I was going to tell you, I've been keeping that in my bag. My beautiful bag that I got from the lovely, lovely Jules from So Sweet Violet.
It's really pretty.
It's such a pretty Liberty rainbow, and it's such a lovely size. It's roomy and has pockets on the inside here. And she sent me some really sweet little goodies I wanted to share too. And I know you got one of these as well.
I didn't bring it out here because I have
It's okay. She did.
something special in it.
Ooh, fun. But I got one of her new rainbow pins, and look, the little clouds are made from yarn balls. And one of her pretty sparkly progress keepers. And then I just love these.
Those are really fun.
This is a set of ring stitch markers, but the rings are little hearts. I don't know if you can see those, but they're little tiny gold hearts. And I love gold, so that, oh, it's just so fun.
That's perfect.
So anyway, she sent some other goodies and some minis that I've already got going into projects. So
That's good. Hold up your bag, because she and Amy,
Yes.
So Sweet Violet and Little Taylor S are having a rainbow along.
Yes.
And the nice thing is that whips count. So I entered these.
Yay!
So if you have any rainbow themed projects,
And
Go
they
enter it.
said you can be knitting, crocheting, weaving, sewing.
Any
I think she even said
fiber-related.
cross stitch
Yeah.
on on Jules' last podcast. So anything fiber related, it just has to have 5 different colors in it. So very liberal and generous. So fun.
okay.
All right, that is all. That's the only finished object I have.
I've got a couple more. I've been on a roll. This has been a good knitting month.
Good.
I mean, it has been a while, and most of these were nearing completion anyways, but I still feel pretty good.
Just take lots of credit.
Okay.
It's great.
I finished my
Yay.
husband's socks for gigantic feet, so that's always a grand achievement. This is yarn from Yarnbrary, right here. And this one is Romeo, or no, this one's just Romeo. I have her Juliet colorway that I had started socks. I could have brought those. I have those stashed in my long-term whips because since last October, I think I've told you, I have been just finishing things and not casting on a million, and I just have a couple going. And so when I did that, I set a couple of things aside to pull out when I finish more things, and I just remembered about it. Anyways, so I knit these on 2.25 millimeter needles, and I did 68 stitches. They're not compression socks for him. They fit perfectly. And I did a slip stitch heel and gusset. These were knit top down. This is just vanilla sock. This is kind of just my favorite method, top down. But I do like toe up when you want to use every bit of yarn, or just you want to change. You know, that's all. So
I think one thing that's probably a benefit of toe up is that often increases are more beautiful mirror image than decreases, because knit two togethers always look really lovely, but those slip knits don't always look quite as good, and so I think that could be another benefit to toe up.
I'm like, I don't know if you can see it on here as well. The increases on toe up were just really tidy.
Yeah.
I don't know. My increases look pretty good, or my decreases.
I don't think it's a dramatic difference, but I do think that for some people, they have more dramatic difference between their knit two togethers and their slip knits. So
yeah.
Anyway,
I have another finished
Becky,
object.
great.
I'm just like a mad woman here.
You are.
Okay. Emily made how many of these?
3.
3 of these, and I couldn't not do one. Double negative. Okay. So I made my own market tote. It's a vintage market tote crochet pattern by
The
the
Lavender
Lavender Chair. And I copied Emily. I made a tassel because that's just too cute. Why would you not add a tassel? I had some hardware from my bag making supplies, and I had to follow Emily and put a charm on it.
So was yours a seahorse? Is that
Yep,
what it is?
it's a seahorse with little jewels on it. And I lined mine.
Which is so smart.
So Emily put project bags in hers, and I thought that was just brilliant, so I decided to line mine. This is what I had left after making the tassel and the bag. So I did 2 fabrics. I did a plain bright yellow for the what you see peeking out on the outside, and then on the inside I did a really cheerful floral print, and I put a pocket in with that same yellow. So the nice thing with this, with lining it, is that it will always stay this shape. It won't stretch out. But sometimes that's nice because you might want that to stretch out, because then you can just fit more things in. It just depends on what you want to do.
My cream colored one, I totally stretched it out. I need to wash it.
Yours is about the same size, or it started out about the same size, and it's like
twice as big.
It's like this long,
yeah,
like this wide. But that's, like I was saying, it's a little bit more open and holds lots more stuff. But I still want to put something on the straps here. I just didn't have anything to
reinforce it.
Yeah, I don't know.
I did make my straps a little longer, which
I did that. I followed your instructions. I actually went and put any modifications or anything on my Ravelry page, project page, and I needed a lot of help starting this. So Emily helped me quite a lot. And there were a couple of spots where I'm like, this isn't lining up, and mathematically it didn't quite make sense, so I put any notes. I'm not much of a crocheter, so it could just be that I was doing it wrong, but I put my notes in there. So
I don't think you were doing it wrong. I think that there were some parts of this pattern that are, what's the right phrase for it? They're not wrong, but they're not clear. And if you're, and there's one that I think is wrong. If you're experienced, it's kind of like a typical thing you do in anything that you work in the round. So it's easy to go, oh, well, she probably just meant this, and you just do it. But
I would
so that's
say
what I had done.
One thing that I thought, well, maybe I'm off on here, and I went and checked several other projects where they had the same thing. So it wasn't just me. But when you go to start your handles,
they're not centered.
It starts your handle like right here, and then the next one would start like right here. So I just had to count and divide and everything and crochet around to the right spot to start to make my handles centered. So that's what I put in my notes, I believe.
Yeah, that's good.
So that's something that I definitely was like, this is way off. How was I so far off? And so I traced out my bag. I laid it flat and I traced it out. I don't know what my gauge is, but I'm just telling you how I did mine, okay? I laid the bag on some paper. You probably can't quite see. And I kind of drew this outline. It has a little scoop for the, help me out here, Emily, for the top here. Because my lining, I wanted to come up to the top, so it scoops out there. And I added a seam allowance and little cutouts for the boxed bottom and a zipper placement, and I cut out 2 of each color to just make my lining. And I did a 9" by 15" piece of fabric for my pocket with a 7" zipper. I'm not putting this pattern anymore because your gauge, if it's not the same as mine, it's not going to really work, and I don't know, I'm not figuring all that out.
Did you put interfacing in it?
No
Or just
interfacing,
a
so it stayed floppy.
Oh, good.
So that's what I did. I just laid it flat, traced it out, added a seam allowance. You have to add a little bit of length if your bag's, kind of flat here, and then you add the length here plus seam allowance, but then you cut out for your box base. If you're familiar with bag making. If you're not, go watch some tutorials. It's okay. This is not a how-to. It was just how I did.
Okay. Sounds good.
And the yarn was Bernat Maker Home Deck,
which is the dumbest name for yarn.
And it was aqua. And I got another one.
That yellow.
I got a yellow.
Cute. I love the yellow.
The yellow, it is so bright and cheerful. I had to go to 5 different Michaels and
Really?
found one Michael that has every color except for one of them that's
Which
only
one?
available online. Go to the Michaels in Magna. Or it's West Valley.
Oh,
over by
yeah.
Mom.
Okay.
So if you live in Utah, there's Michaels in West Valley on 5600 West, around 3100 South, around
Yep.
there. That's where they have it.
Nice. They didn't have the corally one.
They
though?
did, but it's kind of a brick color.
Oh,
It's not red.
yeah.
It's not quite coral. So
That's not quite what I would want. But I love that yellow. I would love to make one in yellow.
I used a size K hook, and that crocheting that didn't hurt my hand at all because it was
yeah.
stretchy and smooth and not too thick, not too thin, it was
It's really quite enjoyable.
Perfect.
It does hurt. It hurts my arm right here and both of my arms when I did 3 in a row.
yeah. And
By that point, my arm was dead.
I spent 4 days making mine. You spent
4
what?
days making 3.
Yeah, exactly. So.
But I just get obsessed sometimes and just go with one thing, and that's what I did. So
I have
All
another
right.
finished object.
Yay,
This one is cross stitch. So if you follow me on Instagram, actually, did I show this before? No, not on
not
here.
on the podcast, no.
But on Instagram, I've shown this. This is my little Red Riding Hood. That's not the name of the chart, but I'll show you in a minute. It is just so cute.
It's really
It's
cute.
really cute. It is on 16 count Ada. This is like almost the biggest Ada, so I could see it,
That's my style.
which was nice because it's just really simple and basic and easy to use. But it does make it a lot bigger. So this is a much bigger piece, and this will just go on a bag or something. Probably a bag because that's what I do.
That's so adorable.
The chart was In the Wood by Madame Chantilly. And I didn't add the text on the bottom of this one. And I thought that I would show something that I made for my cross stitch project. So I was at Walmart and I saw Pioneer Woman's placemats that were so cheerful. I mean, look at this one. It's so fun. So I bought a placemat and I made myself a cross stitch kind of project bag organizer thing. So I have some vinyl that I put some bias tape on and I stitched channels down, and I like using the floss, not bobbins, floss, whatever these things are. I like using these, so I sewed it to fit those in here. And then I have another little pocket on the side for my chart and for the hoop and for the project. And I've got the little needle minder that I've attached here, and then I've got a little pocket that has my little embroidery snips in it, and then a pin cushion for my needle. So I had made plans to make several of these and to have a closure on it. I just never did that because I just do one project pretty much of these at a time. But
That's really fun.
I can still take it with me, and it fits nicely on my lap, and I can just put it on my lap if I'm taking it somewhere. So if you want to make one, go get yourself a placemat, and I folded the edging of the placemat over and just sewed it down to encase the stuff that the vinyl pockets that I put in.
See, you're so smart, because I would never look at a placemat like that and go, oh, well, that would make an awesome case. Like,
Well,
it wouldn't
I
even
had
occur to
help.
me.
Because on Instagram, I had several people that said that their mother had made one that way or something. And I remembered when I was newly married, going to some craft thing where we took hot pads that were
And
large and you
made
fold them
them
in half
into-
and made them into first aid kits
Yeah.
with little Ziploc baggies.
I do remember those.
And I was like, oh, yeah, I forgot about that. So I decided that would be easier than me sewing the fabric and quilting it and making it like, oh, just buy a
Sure.
placemat and make
Yeah.
that work.
Smart.
So that's all my
Right.
finished objects.
Wonderful.
I've been on a roll.
You have been on a roll. I have a lot of works in progress, but just haven't finished a lot. All right.
Stop. It's time for our favorite things.
Oh, that's what's happening. I'm like, what's going on? Yay. That's good. I'm going to get out my fan here.
Well, that was elegant.
Thank you.
Thanks.
The funny thing about fans like this, by the way, is that I break them. Because I just, anyway.
They're fun to play with.
Okay.
This is our top favorite ways to stay cool in the heat.
Yes.
So we each have 3 things. I have no idea what yours are.
Nope. And
You don't know what
yours.
mine are.
Mm-mm.
We all know you need to drink cool things. You need to sit under the air conditioning to stay in the shade. That's none of yours, right?
Well, kind of-ish, but not really.
Okay.
Not really.
So we have some of our own favorite ways to stay cool. So
Uh-oh. I need something out of my purse, which is right there. Can you reach my purse?
yes,
Okay.
here you go.
Thank you.
Okay. Did you want to start with your first favorite?
Yes.
thing
So I'll say
to
number
stay cool?
3 for me is to actually remember to get outside first thing in the morning and last thing before bed. So that I remember that there is a world out there that is cool-ish. Because one of the good things about being in a desert and that we don't have humidity is it does cool down quite a bit when the sun goes down. So
Most nights.
most of the time, yeah. I know that there's
Not
a lot
this
of
week.
places where it just never cools down.
Yeah.
But it'll still cool down 20 or 30 degrees even in the hottest part of the year overnight. And so I get outside, you know, water in my yard and things like that so that I can remember there is a world out here and I like it and I'm going to like it again after it cools off. So that's my number 3.
Okay. My number 3 is 2 things together.
Okay.
I've taught a class recently on staying cool in the summer without electricity. In my local church organization, we had a kind of emergency preparedness thing. And so one of the things that we talked about was things that don't require electricity. And you can buy these chamois things that you put around your neck that you get wet, but you don't need that. You can just use a bandana and get it wet and drape it around your neck and just have it be a little bit wet. And once it starts to get kind of hot or warm, you just take it and shake it out and then put it back on and
Rearrange.
Wet it again if it starts to dry out. And I got a chance to practice this recently as our power went out for most of the day on a very, very hot day recently because we had a power line that went down in a neighbor's yard and started a house fire, which was really scary, and then we had no power for a while, so we were practicing that. And the other half of that is, along with the evaporative cooling, is we have this sprayer and pump that is like for golfing that
Okay.
I'm sure you've seen it. We've used it at our outdoor events because we do a lot of
Yeah.
outdoor things where there's no chance to go and sit in air conditioning, and it's in the heatest part of the summer.
I like the
heatest
Yes.
part, hottest part of the summer. And so it's this thing that you put over. It just broke, so we got rid of it. So I can't show you. I
Oh.
need to get another one. I'll see if I can find a picture online. But you know, there was a strap that you can put across your body, and it has like a little water reservoir and a little pump on it, and it's like a mini sprayer. Like if you ever spray your fruit trees or something with pesticides, those kind of like misting sprayers, it's a little mini one of those, and you just spray it and walk into it, and that cools you down. We've all fought over that, which is why it broke, because everybody in my family wants to use it all the time. So we definitely use that, and any misting kind of things. But evaporative cooling, when we're in the desert, that works extremely well.
Yeah. And I I know that for those of you who are in the UK and Europe, you say, well, we don't have air conditioning. And I don't understand you. But you could have air conditioning.
You say, why?
Help me understand.
Exactly. Help us understand why do you guys not have air conditioning when it's so hot?
You can get on Amazon. You can order a unit. Is it like illegal? Like, why? Because air conditioning
is a beautiful thing.
It's a wonderful, wonderful thing.
You know what, though? Okay, in my house, I live in a house that was built in the early 1950s. And so it was built not with the central air units that everybody uses around us today that get really cold. I actually feel like it's just too harsh. Like, it's nice to be cool, but I do feel like I go into the grocery store and I'm just like, it's not even yeah, it's cool, but it's not comfortable. It's not a naturally cooling thing, and I want it to feel more natural. So we have something called an evaporative cooler, or nicknamed a swamp cooler out here, which works really well until it gets above 95 degrees.
Then it just doesn't work at all.
And so it doesn't work at all right now because it's been above 95 degrees for a while. But that only works if you're in a dry climate like it is here, because it blows air with some moisture with it, which is really nice because that helps hydrate everything. And so I like the evaporative coolers, but not
I'm all
today.
about the air conditioning. I love it.
But I have an a mini air conditioning unit in my sewing room, but it doesn't get frigidly cold.
Yeah, it's nice.
It's just kind of a moderate. Anyways, okay.
Here's my number 2.
This is a good one.
Peppermint oil. Yes. Peppermint oil is magic. And I put this peppermint oil, this is peppermint essential oil. I put it in a little roller. And all you do is put a little tiny dab on your forehead, and I'll put a little tiny dab on the back of my neck. And if you're sensitive to it, you really need to test it first with a carrier oil like fractionated coconut oil. I am not very sensitive to it, so I just use it straight. It smells amazing. And when you first put it on, you don't really feel much, but give it about 30 seconds to a minute, and all of a sudden it feels just, it just cools you right down. I've actually used this with my kids if they have fevers and I'm trying to cool them down. It smells so good.
It does smell good. It helps with headaches.
Helps with headaches. I use it for headaches, but it's really great when you're hot. Now, just a note, if you're hot and sweaty, that moisture on your body will actually intensify it, and it will get really strong. So like you need to be careful until
like the icy hot kind of burn.
Yeah, you need to be really careful with it until you know your own body and how you react to it. I've used it for years, and I keep it with me at all times. But this is magic. So when you get to that point, because I'll get that way where I get to a point where I'm overheated and I can sit in front of a fan, I can sit in front of the air conditioning, but I can't cool down. Like my body is just like freaking out. And so that is the thing that will kind of start me cooling off, and it's really helpful. So I love it.
I like that too.
Very refreshing.
All right, the second way that I like to stay cool in the summer, one of my favorites, is actually to be outside, like Emily was saying, but to be in the shade on grass, because grass cools things down about 10 degrees. And then, if you get out the hose and start watering, automatically it's cooler. Sorry, but those are my favorite things.
Nice.
So when I get really hot, I usually will go out and water, because I like evaporative cooling, apparently.
You like mist.
I do.
Mist is wonderful until it gets to the level
of it being swampy.
Yeah, swampy. Then it's just,
It is not good.
I would not survive.
It's just because it's a desert. That's all. I mean, we live in a desert where, technically, because it's about how much rainfall that you get.
Yeah, but we're high desert. So
yes, but our landscape still, there's a lot of greenery and plants and lush, beautiful things. It's just really dry and high altitude and hot.
Right. We don't live in a sandy,
not that
cactusy desert.
No.
It's just high
different.
desert. Yeah.
This is different. So yeah, it's still being outside, but there's a noticeable difference. 10 degrees easily from being on hardscape versus soft scaping. So that's definitely a difference.
Okay, my number 1 is ice. I love ice.
Just sit on it.
I love ice. Like, sometimes I get a little teary-eyed thinking about how much I know it sounds stupid, but really, like...
So why don't you just marry it?
What I realize that I am privileged because I have things like air conditioning and crushed ice at any given moment. And these things bring great solace and comfort and joy to me in my life. I am one of those really annoying ice chewers. I love ice. So
We
I
were
have
friends, really good friends up until now.
Oh, whatever. Like, like this is new about me.
Apparently I have not sat
I
next to you while
try
you're
not
chomping
to
on
be
ice.
too annoying with it. I'm more annoying at home than I am other places. My fridge has like an ice dispenser that you can do crushed ice, but they're still kind of big pieces. So my favorite thing is, we call it slushy water in our house, where you just put ice and water in the blender, blend it up, and you basically get slush. And I'll do that.
Flavorless slush.
It's just ice water.
I'm just giving you a hard time.
I know, but I've told people about this before, and they're like, why would you want that? I'm like,
'Cause
do
it's
you like
cold.
ice water?
I do.
Ice water is the best. Oh,
I love ice water.
This
And
is another
my
thing.
ice machine
Europe,
is not
what's
working,
with them
apparently.
not having the ice water? I don't get that one either.
I was just learning that most places outside of the U.S. that you...
You just get room temperature water.
Yeah.
Maybe it's considered a health thing. Or maybe it's because they really don't have as many hot days. And so the days that I could be totally wrong. So feel free to correct me. But the days that you are hot, that you just kind of muddle through because it's not that many. I'm talking specifically England right here. But I don't know. I like my ice and I like my air conditioning.
I know that some drinks are like it's best, the flavor and everything is best at room temperature, but
Yeah.
water. is
Really,
meant to be
really
cold.
cold
I
icy
do know
water.
though
Oh.
that if you are drinking things, especially that are sugary, higher in calories, and you drink really cold ones of those, it actually does warm up your body because digesting it and breaking down the high calorie drinks actually warms you more than the icy drink. So, so your sodas and fruity drinks and alcoholic drinks and a lot of those, they actually warm you up more.
If you drink them as cold drinks?
Yeah.
Huh.
So,
Well, I like my ice.
me too.
A
I like
lot.
ice, and my ice machine is having problems. We have like 3 ice cubes, and we're all.
But if my ice machine, like my ice
I'm gonna
machine's
go
having
buy
a hard
some.
time keeping up with it, we'll do it. We'll just go buy bags
going
of
down
ice
to this-
and just dump
yeah.
it into the dispenser.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing right after this because I
love
can't
ice.
handle that. All right, my number one is to think cool.
Oh,
Now,
feeling very zen for a moment.
yes. Right here, what we're doing, I was listening to tropical Hawaiian music. I like to put on a swimsuit and not go swimming because I don't like swimming. Instead, I go to the pool and I lay in the shade and I'm like, I am instantly cooler like this. Not really. It's still really hot outside. It's hotter than sitting in front of my air conditioning, but I feel better. So I like to do things that make me feel like I'm not in a desert.
Yeah.
That make me feel like, so I'll listen to different music, and really all it is just about changing my mood. So if I'm
Yeah.
really grumpy because it's just really hot,
Mm-hmm.
then I usually will start doing some of the other things that make me think that it's cooler than it really is. It doesn't work the other way around.
If you think warm.
If you're really cold and you think warm thoughts, it doesn't work.
Doesn't help.
No. I'll still die of hypothermia.
Between the two of us, you're more likely to die of hypothermia and I'm more likely to die of heat stroke, I think.
I don't like being hot.
get-
I hate to be hot. I get overheated really easily. I can't cool down.
Yeah.
But I still, it's probably because I absolutely hate the winter so much that I will take the heat any day over the winter because
Oh, I don't know. I used to be that way, but I'm getting more and more where summer is my nemesis.
oh, and I don't have to wear 17 layers that make me claustrophobic.
That's true.
Oh.
Flip-flops are a beautiful thing.
Okay, let's move on.
Yes.
It's time for works in progress.
I got some of those.
You got some?
I have to show this one first of all because I love it so much. And of course, it's so hot, so I'm working on a wool blanket, you know, because that makes sense. But my granny stripe blanket is so cute.
We don't need to see it. Just hold this up.
Here, there it is. That's how much I have of it so far, which is what, 17? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 15, 16, 17, 18 stripes. So it's just been it's so much fun to work on. I have been keeping absolutely faithful notes about every yarn that I put into this blanket. And there's 2 of these that are really fun, but I won't mention them right now. We'll talk about them later. But I've been keeping all the notes right in my Ravelry projects page, including my cast on number and my hook size. And I am using 20 gram minis, and it really does take probably 17 to 18 grams to get one of these stripes, the size that I'm doing. This is fingering weight, but I'm going down and back twice.
And you did
239 cast on stitch, or you know what I'm saying, foundation chain is 239. So it's so much fun. I'm also going to enter this into the J&A Rainbow Along for Jules and Amy's Rainbow Along. But I am having so much fun. And it's kind of fun to see how like it started on this side like a little bit more neon, and then it's still staying nice and bright, but now I'm kind of getting into, I don't know, just a different kind of shades, but I'm really loving it. I love it, love it, love it. And it's just, I think that I'm really liking this gauge. I like the feel of the fabric. Yeah. It's not stiff and bulky. It's got some drape, but it's still a fairly, I just dropped my hook. It's still a fairly, you know, close stitch. So it's going to be really cozy in the winter. It's still small enough I can stand to work on it if I'm sitting in front of the fan.
By the time it gets bigger,
it'll be the fall, and I will be really enjoying working.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that will be nice.
Anyway, so that is just a blast. Oh, and I've got my cute little, my bird progress keeper. That's from Jules.
That is really cute. Violet. I want to see that one.
It's a little, I don't know if I can show it very well, but a little ceramic bird. I love that.
That's really
It's really fun.
Okay, I have one work in progress. I told you that I'm finishing things.
That's awesome.
I was just lamenting right before this that I didn't have any socks on my needles, and I just remembered I do, so I better go get them.
Yay!
Okay, I am knitting the China Rose pattern by Sweet Georgia Yarns. Well, that's not the designer. The designer is Tabitha Hedrick, but she designs for Sweet Georgia. And it is a 2-color rectangular shawl, and it's not a really long one. It says 50 inches. Now, if I had measured that ahead of time, like actually measured, I probably wouldn't have knit this one because it looks longer here. But I'm almost done with the lace section, so I have knit this, and I'm just about done. I have one pattern repeat left, and it's kind of hard to see in here, but it continues out like here, okay? So you can see how big this is. You want to hold that there?
Oh, yeah.
Now, the lace will block
quite a bit.
But garter stitches, when you block them, you can stretch it way out, but they just spring back, so there's not a lot of length there. This may end up being for my youngest daughter.
Yeah, it's not very large.
Because it takes 2 skeins. It's not one that you can really make larger unless you do it in the lace section, which I don't have another yarn for that. So once I got to the end of the lace, just about here, I'm just thinking this may not really be exactly what I was hoping for. Yeah. What I wanted was not something that was going to wrap all around. I wanted something that would go over my shoulders when I'm in those frigid air-conditioned rooms that are actually painfully cold in the summer. That's what I was looking for. But it might be too short. So we'll see. I will finish it. I will block it. Then we'll see from there. But it's pretty.
It's very pretty.
So the 2 yarns, well, somebody asked what bag this was, and you had one like this, Emily.
Yes, mine's
You didn't bring yours
no.
today. This was from Little Tailoress, which I don't know, Amy. I think your bags are Dandelion and Dogwood. Yes.
We know our
Yeah.
yarns, Dandelion and Dogwood.
But on Instagram, you can go to Little Tailoress and get information about that. The yarn in these little pods by Gaina, our lovely friend Gaina, who's Cuckoo Bee.
She's Tales from Cuckoo Land now on Instagram.
Oh, she's on Instagram?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I think her company is Cuckoo 1872.
Yeah.
1870
Something.
Think
Yeah.
so?
This one is from Yarn Cafe Creations. It is Barb. Beautiful.
It's so pretty.
Beautiful. And this one is a one-of-a-kind skein from Yarnbrary.
That was one of my first colorways.
I know, you showed me a picture and you said, what do you think of this? I'm like, yes. I said, well, I'm not dyeing it. And I almost cried. And so I cried long enough and then you gave it to me. It's like, what?
Not
What's
exactly how
wrong?
that works, but
No,
that's
but
okay.
we'll just say that that's how it worked. So that's my work in progress.
Very pretty. All right, so I have kind of a funny work in progress here. This yarn is Bloom Self-Striping by, again, Amy, Dandelion and Dogwood. And I had decided I was going to do Afterthought Everything socks. This is how much I have left of that ball. So I knit big long tube. But this is what I remember now that I've done it, is see my beautiful cast on edge and look at my weird looking bind off edge. And look at the difference between the two. It's not working out for me. I need to figure out a better bind off. I need to undo this bind off and do a different bind off because my regular bind off isn't as stretchy as this. And I've tried 3 different bind offs. Two different bind offs. And they all do this little thing out, which honestly wouldn't be too bad if both the socks were going to be that way.
Okay, but when you put it on, I'm with you on it because I want my socks to look beautiful on and off.
Well, but the other thing is just fit. Like, look at how far this one stretches and
Oh,
how
yeah.
far this stretches. It's the fit is not going to be the same. So I'd love any ideas for how I can get a nice, really tidy, still
Moderate
stretchy
and
enough,
stretchy.
moderate stretch, bind off so that I can have a match. Because then later I thought, well, maybe I was trying to think through this. Maybe I need to knit one from the cuff to the toe and then add a toe here and then a cuff. And then I realized I'd be in the same boat anyway because I'd still be picking up and working my cuff up. So it doesn't matter. I got to figure that out. But I still had a lot of fun knitting this. I went to 2 different movies while I was working on it. It's the best ever
Yes.
movie knitting
Yes.
because I didn't have to count really anything. I just could knit forever.
I like doing that on the 9-inch circulars because I don't ever have to readjust the
Oh,
needles,
yeah.
so I just keep knitting. It's like you never
Never
have
ends.
to
Just
stop.
knit.
Just knit. I love that.
It was fun. So I had originally planned, I got this mini along with the yarn and had planned on doing the toes and heels out of this. However, the rules for that rainbow along say you have to have 5 colors.
Oh.
If I put this already has 4.
Yes.
If I put a different color heels and toes, I can count this for the rainbow along. So I'm thinking I'm gonna look for a different color.
Because you have kind of a reddish orange, a yellow,
Uh-huh.
a purple. So you need a green or a blue?
I do. I think I need a green or a blue in there. And so I'm gonna do that. But yeah, I'd love some ideas for my bind off here. I'd really just like it to be a little tidier. This is one of the reasons I actually love to do cuff down socks. I just like this cuff. And I don't want to mess with that cuff. So anyway, but I had a great time doing the sock tube.
They're really
And if I
cute.
can figure out that bind off, I will do it again because that was so enjoyable to just be able to knit.
And I love when you go to separate the two. It's like magic.
I
It's
know,
really
all of a
fun.
sudden. And it's funny too because people keep saying, what are you knitting? I'm like, socks. I really look at it.
Thigh highs?
Really?
That are really, really skinny.
I said, well, this is going to be 2 socks. And I was explaining to my dad. He goes, well, that's just weird.
That's like that.
It was funny. Thanks, Dad.
Okay.
All
Keep
right.
on going if
okay.
you have more.
So next I have this Bluebird Cardi. And I have shown the Bluebird Cardi I knit for myself. This is a cropped Cardi by Cecily Glowik MacDonald. Here's the picture. And when I knit the one for myself, which was in the largest size, it took 197 grams of yarn. So I thought, I'm pretty sure I can get one for my youngest daughter out of one single skein of sock yarn. It's kind of hard to see, but I have knit, it starts at the bottom up, I've knit the lace, and then I've knit divided and knit both the fronts, and I'm now working on the back. And this yarn is kind of fun because the way I dyed this yarn, it had one end, like you could see as I was caking it up, one end had a lot of color in it, to the other end having less color in it. So you can see that it's doing that in my sweater. Really fun. So you've got a lot of speckles down here and they're getting more and more sparse. So the problem is I still have about 15-20 rows on the back of this, and then I need to seam it and trim do the whole ribbing around the neckline in front and around the sleeves. And I have, this looks like more than it actually is, maybe 15 grams of yarn left. So I'm playing major yarn chicken. And I don't have another skein, especially one that would just go right into that. This is the Eltons from my Emma collection. It was on a base that I was testing and have decided not to carry. I like it, but I'm not going to carry it. So I had just kept it for myself. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm just going to knit the back, hoping that I make it. And it is for my daughter, so I'm probably just going to pull out some undyed yarn to do the trim in.
Well, that's a good idea.
And it will probably be fine. I mean, it won't be quite as cute, but I think it'll be fine. So anyway, that's where I am on that. Again, it's kind of hard to see. It's kind of a hard one to show because it rolls up. You can't see the lace and you can't really tell what the shape is. But I'm quite close to finishing it.
That's a good idea though. The undyed yarn, that will look really nice.
I think it will be okay.
Mm-hmm.
So there's that. Let's see.
You have several bags, so you must
I have 2 more. Excuse me, I'm still getting over this cold. All right, so I have a pair of socks that I started for my husband. And he actually seems excited about these. So this is the yarn. Sorry, let me pull the tag out. The yarn is by Shoppe, and it's Shoppe Jeans Ball. And I knit, this one is kind of an indigo with gray flecks and streaks through it. I knit another pair for my son that I think I showed last time that were the opposite. They were kind of the gray with the flecks of the indigo.
Yeah.
And this one is called In the Mood is the colorway. And again, it's called, Jeans Ball. So I am knitting this sock, and I don't know how well you can see this, but I'm knitting a ribbed sock.
Oh, okay.
So I knit a 2x2 ribbed cuff, but now I'm knitting 3x1 ribbing, and I'll knit that all through the leg and then the top of the foot. My husband really likes socks that really hug his legs and feet.
That's my husband.
Yeah, they both really like that. And so I'm hoping that ribbing will help to keep it that way. But I had him just take this and make sure it would go over his heel and that it fit right at the height of his leg that he wanted it. And it seemed like it was just great. So I'm cruising along on these. And it's kind of fun. It's kind of fun that he's actually interested in it. The only other thing I have knit for him is a hat. That hat that I knit at Christmas time.
Oh, yeah.
Because he's quite picky. I'm trying to be diplomatic.
He's particular about what he wants.
And he doesn't like a lot of color. and he doesn't like texture. He really wants things very, very, very plain and simple. And so it's honestly very hard to knit something that is boring to knit that he may not even like or wear because of how particular he is about fit and comfort and everything.
That's why I was really happy about this yarn, because this yarn it's plain and simple, but it's not boring.
That would be too, but your husband likes texture at least.
He does, he likes texture a lot.
But Richard doesn't even like texture. This ribbing is already like, oh, okay, you know. Like,
that's a bit adventurous.
Yeah. So, anyway, that's okay though. I mean, he's very supportive and wonderful and like appreciates what I knit. It's just I don't usually knit for him. So it's kind of fun to actually be able to knit something for him because he's just wonderful and he deserves good things. All right. This is my last one, right? Yep. Okay. I'm really excited about this.
This one is really fun.
I was debating if I would show this today because this is my new design. And it's not finished yet. And so, you know, I kind of go back and forth. Do I want to show a design in progress? But I just love it so much and I wanted to share it with you. So, I don't yet have a name for this design, this shawl, but I'm going to show it to you now. So here we go. This is a triangular, and it's going to be quite large shawl that has a beautiful little, I'm calling it like a cluster or a blossom stitch right here, and some texture that goes through it. It's 2 colors.
How many skeins?
It's a 3 skein, so you need 2 colors. Like I'm going to be using 2 skeins of this one,
Great. And
only 1 skein of the pink. These are 2 of the Yarnbrary colors, and the gray is Just Jane, and this pink is In the Garden.
So such a pretty combination.
I really love it together.
Because the Just Jane has little flecks.
Yeah.
In there. That's such a pretty combination.
I am so excited about this shawl. I know what it looks like in my head. I really love the look of it in my head. I'm hoping that I'll be able to what's the word I'm looking for? Realize that vision that I have in my mind. But anyway, I'm hoping to have this finished and published. It'll come out probably in September because I need time for tech editing and test knitters and all of that. But I'll probably release it in September. And I'll probably do kits for it as well in a couple different colorway options. But I have enjoyed it so much. The problem is I thought I had 1 more skein of Just Jane.
Oh no.
And so I just need to dye another skein of Just Jane. And it's okay because you have places where the colors are interrupted.
So they're not directly against each other.
Yeah, so it's totally fine to be able to change. But I'm stalled out because I have this much Just Jane left and I need to dye another skein. So that is in progress as well. So that's what I have. Going along.
Fun.
It is fun. I'm enjoying it.
All right, we received a really fun surprise. When Emily and I were at Stitches West earlier this year, I stopped in a little shop and bought a skein of yarn that I just thought was beautiful. Then I came home and I couldn't find it, and I thought, okay, did I leave it at Emily's? Is it in her suitcase accidentally with her yarn? And it had been a while because all of a sudden I was like, wait, what happened to that skein of yarn? I'm pulling out all of my yarn left and right. I had my whole table covered trying to find that skein, and then I had this sinking feeling that I left it, like it fell out of my overflowing bag of purchases as I was leaving. So I contacted the dyer and asked if she could dye another skein, if I could buy another one, and she said that was a one of a kind that is not repeatable. And then she tried and tried and tried, and then messaged me a couple months later, was like, I have been trying to recreate that and I just can't. And I was like, it's okay. And then she said, but I'm gonna dye something else for you. And she sent me this
So
beautiful
cute
skein. This one is called Princess Colors, and this is on her diamond sock yarn base, which is superwash merino and silk. I mean, It is lovely.
Ooh,
So this is Cappy. She has her business is the Yarn and I, and look how adorable. I'm fond of this. And she also has a podcast. I told her right before she sent me this one that guess what? I found the skein of yarn.
You did?
I did.
Where was it?
It was in with all my other yarn, but it was like, it was hidden. I don't know how it was hidden because I laid everything out. And so, anyways, I found the other skein of yarn. But she sent this beautiful skein. She is just brilliant because she has beautiful colors. And then she sent Emily and I a gift of castle-themed stitch markers and progress keeper.
Love.
Aren't those adorable? There's a crown, a castle, a pumpkin carriage, a slipper like a shoe, and oh my goodness, I just noticed the key was the Mickey Mouse.
Oh,
key.
you have a key. I have a frog, like the frog,
Oh my
like the
goodness.
Princess and the Frog.
Okay.
I can't get that one separated, but
She must know. Well, you and I are both Disney fanatics.
I know we kind of
Disneyland
are.
fanatics,
It's kind of ridiculous.
But, you
That's
know,
mine too.
I like
See my little frog there? He's so cute.
And the fun thing is that she actually has more of these. They're not listed in her shop as of right now, but she has them. So if you want to contact her, she can make some if you'd like some. Okay, I gotta show you the castle and the key. I love those.
Those are
That's
fun.
so fun. Okay.
Yeah,
So thank
those
you
are
so
really
much,
fun.
Cappy.
Thank
That
you.
was really, really sweet. Really sweet and kind of a fun surprise. I was just like, oh, I won't have that yarn after all. And now I do. That's a beautiful one.
That is
Another
really
one.
beautiful. So fun. All right. We are up to shop news.
Up to shop news.
Okay, I'm going to do mine first because
Okay,
mine's
sounds
short.
good.
I am going to be dyeing very little during the summer for my Etsy shop. I'm still dyeing for yarn stores. I'll be restocking Knit and Pretty and also the Knitting Post, which is down in Santa Clara near St. George. I've got yarn still at Wasatch and Wool in Park City. So I've got yarn in local yarn stores. I'm hoping to stick a few skeins here and there in my Etsy shop during the summer, but I won't be doing very much because of Heroic Youth. However, I am in the process of planning and developing my new collection that will also come out in September. And I can tell you what it's based on, and that there's actually going to be more than one collection based on The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe by C.S. Lewis.
Yes. Sign me up.
I am
Can we have a club so you can just automatically sign me up?
kind of want to do a club with this one, but I don't know.
Yeah, that's
I'm probably going to do actually a
because
Lord
I
of
know
the
the
Rings
dyer
club.
personally, so I haven't.
I'm probably going to do a Lord of the Rings club, and then do a. I'm going to be doing at least 2, maybe 4 collections based on The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. 5 skein collections. So be watching for that in the fall, and thank you for being patient with me. I just have too much going on this summer. Staying on top of keeping yarn stores stocked, and a secret thing that I can't talk about for the winter. Those are keeping me very, very busy along with everything else. So that's where I am. So now your turn.
Okay. Many of you who follow me on Instagram already know all of this. That's okay, because only a few of you do. So I have been making project bags, specifically Cottage Notions pouches, and I actually have been training my daughter, I told you before, on sewing those. And so she actually this week has taken over the full production of the Cottage Notions pouches. And she just had her first update. It's still on Indigo Chicken on Etsy right now. She just had her first update this week, and those all sold really well. She's very good, very talented stitcher.
Very detail oriented.
So, yeah, she's done a very good job. She has a slightly different aesthetic to me, and so she sews some, and one of the things that I like to do that she also likes me to do is I like to pick out fabric combinations, and then let I'm like, what do you think of these? And then she goes and sews them. But so anyway, so she's taking over the production of those. So you can still get them. Just keep following me on Indigo Chicken Dolls on Instagram, and check out the Etsy shop, Indigo Chicken, where you'll see more updates for those. The name will change later on. She will take over that fully and eventually have a different name with a different shop, so that it's a little less confusing for me when I have anything in Indigo Chicken.
Right.
So to make it a little less confusing. But right now it's all under the same thing. But we're specifically doing that because I have a new adventure for my business. I have just recently announced that I am opening a yarn shop, not a local yarn shop, an online shop, and it is called Candy Shop Yarns, and it is all candy and soda shop themed yarns and fiber related products. The inspiration kind of is a 1910 vintage American candy shop, like on the boardwalk, and you know, the amusement park candy shops. They're just really fun. So I've got some samples here for you of my candy right here. These are 20-gram minis. I'm calling them my mini gumballs because when you wind them up, I mean, they're just so cute, like candy, and you can just consume them like candy in your blankets. So I am obsessed with mini skeins, and I know many of you are. So I wanted to have lots of fun colors. So these are my first batch of colors and flavors of minis. And you can follow my Instagram page, Candy Shop Yarns. It's SHOPPE. You can see that below, where you can get information about that and just see lots of beautiful pictures of these. So these were so fun to dye.
They're so pretty.
And
I've got a couple of those in my blanket. Those are the
Yes.
ones that I was talking about a little bit ago.
And then for my soda fountain colorways, I have liquid candy skeins right here. And this one's pistachio. I tell you all about the flavors on my Instagram page. This one is black cherry. This one's Shirley Temple. Oh,
That's so,
I love this pink.
So pretty.
And this one is tropical
I
punch.
think that is my favorite one though. It's really hard to pick a favorite, but I love that one.
Like these two would be beautiful
Yes.
paired together.
Those are
And these two would make a really fun project together as well. And okay, this is what I want to do. I just am having a hard time because I couldn't decide what to cast on it. And this one I think would be so cute to have contrasting
Yes.
heels, toes, and cuffs with like this yellow,
I love it.
or with this blue,
Ooh, yeah.
periwinkle-ish kind of blue,
Or with that.
or this green would be adorable.
Or this one. Actually, this one's probably
and
my
this
favorite one.
this is my daughter's favorite combination.
Yeah, I think that's my favorite. Although I love the yellow.
This one is like cotton candy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, a lot like this.
Oh.
So I've got cotton candy yarn that will be added to my shop.
Which is
And
it mohair?
this one is kid silk, kid mohair silk. And there will be eventually a rainbow of cotton candy. So we've had lots of fun with this. But I haven't shown, actually I haven't shown the cotton candy before this, but hopefully I will on my Instagram page before this goes up. But another one of our favorites are in my candy dish right here. And Tristan at Dragon Horde Yarn had a great idea for the name of this little collection of candies, these candy charms. These are going to be called penny candy. Just a second. I have a little tiny thing so I can hang these up so you can see some of these. They're adorable little progress keepers that are polymer clay charms. Here's some. Oh, they're so fun. So there's cotton candy that's, oh, you can't see. It's just so hard to see. They're not focusing.
I'm like,
my face is in the way. I don't know if it's going to focus. But anyways, we've got little peppermint sticks and marshmallow twists and all sort licorice candies and cotton candy. So anyways, I am hoping to open my shop. I really want it for this Friday, which is what's today?
10th, so it would be 11th or 13th.
13th.
Friday the 13th.
But I'm not, that's a terrible day. Really? I am not superstitious.
I'm not either.
But a lot of people are. But I'm waiting for the printer for my labels, because the printer is one of our good friends, and his wife ended up having emergency surgery this last week, and so he's been out of the shop. So I'm just waiting on those. So I'll have information on Instagram about that.
That is so exciting.
It's gonna be so fun. Okay.
I love it.
Right now they're all fingering weight yarns that are 80/20 superwash merino nylon, a high twist, except for this one obviously is a lace mohair, which is super fluffy. I've reskeined it so that it's just really fluffy.
It really is.
I know, I love this. Oh, so okay. What if we put these two together, Emily?
You'll just get the haze of that pink.
Yeah, or this.
Oh my gosh.
It'll be so pretty together. Okay.
Oh, so fun.
I'll have to stop because it's really fun. But in my finished objects, I didn't show that I knit a pair of socks with my minis, which are really fun. I love it.
So fun.
So this one is orange slice. This one's seafoam. Except for the seafoam, I lightened a little bit. And a speckled gumball, razzmatazz. This is one that's not out yet. And that's the ones that I have.
So pretty.
Okay.
Exciting stuff, and more exciting stuff because we're going to announce our giveaway.
We're having a giveaway for our tropical celebration for 3,000 subscribers.
We're excited about that.
All of you lovely people who return each week and who have shared the news about our podcast with your friends, we appreciate it. We've made a lot of really sweet friends and connections through doing this, and we appreciate each one of you.
It's not something that, I mean, we really had no idea when we started how many wonderful people we were going to meet, and that really is the highlight of everything that comes with podcasting. So we are going to be doing a giveaway, and it's an awesome little package here. So I'm going to be giving away my Aria socks pattern, and we'll insert a picture here of that. And then we are also, Deborah is giving away,
for our tropical theme, we're going to give away a skein of Tropical Punch and a contrasting mini.
So you definitely want this package because look at that gorgeous yarn. It's so beautiful.
Socks and yarn. Can't go wrong.
Nope. So all we want to do is you'll just want to go over to our Ravelry group, the Meanwhile at the Castle Ravelry group, and there will be a thread there, and we just want to hear your top things that help you stay cool in the summer. And you know, you Europeans, you Brits, you can share with us what it is about air conditioning and ice that you so strongly object to. Help us to understand.
I don't know that they strongly object.
I know.
Maybe they do. Maybe
they do. Is it a moral
That's one thing that
thing?
I really like is when we find out the differences.
I know.
We're like, really? It's like that there?
Uh-huh.
We find out the differences between our cultures and countries, and it's really fascinating and kind of fun.
Yeah. So share that with us. It'll be fun. And then we will be back. I think that's everything today, isn't it?
Yep.
Wow.
Okay, that was
awesome.
That was a good amount to share, a good amount of shareage.
So we will see you soon, and stay cool and enjoy your summer. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye now.
Bye-bye.